While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of The Enthusiast Lab. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Matt.
And this is The Enthusiast Lab. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Enthusiast Lab. We have Matthew or Matt with us again.
Matthew, don't fucking call him by his full
Whoa,
name.
Jesus. Take the fuck back. Matt with us, the general manager from La Vida. You may have recognized him from one of our previous episodes. And today he is back to talk to us and go into the deep depth of the 2020 boom.
Excited to be back.
Fucking oath. Oh, man, we absolutely vibed like fuck the last time we were together. And we're like, you know what? We're going to drag this motherfucker back here and just pull all the fucking knowledge out of you for a few reasons. Obviously, the first one is you've actually experienced parts of the building boom yourself as a client.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, being in a high position in a building company, being a general manager, you've had to deal with the price increases and all sorts of shit. Through and had to try and navigate your way through it all. So
every day.
Basically, it was like a no-brainer to get you on. So we're like, hey, Matt, get the fuck back here. Please.
Hey, Matt, please.
Please.
I'll bring you chocolate.
Please.
No one bought me chocolate.
No.
I'll take you out for lunch.
We reeled this motherfucker in for chocolates. Yeah, and getting the chocolates. All right.
And we are super unscripted today. This was written at like 3 hours ago.
Yeah. Look,
so
like we don't work off a script like as in everything is written down what we're going to say. It's more of just a structure. So then we don't, because I like to veer off track.
Yeah.
Way too fucking easily.
This is how I roll.
Fucking
This is daily.
You have to cop this shit all the time from me. So that's why we normally try and just write a little bit of a script just so then we know the points so then Julie can reel my fucking head back in.
Yes.
All right. So we're just going to fucking wing it and let's just start from the right beginning.
Yeah. So
2020.
Today we're talking about the building boom that happened in 2020.
Yes.
And kind of diving into how it turned into like this shit show that everyone's
experienced across Australia,
and why we're still feeling the boom
aftermath.
Repercussions now. Like 3 years later, we're still feeling the repercussions of that boom.
We're doing this in August 2023. Fuck knows when this actually gets released.
I don't know, maybe a month or two.
Yeah, probably in a month or two. But we're still feeling it pretty fucking hard at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. We're battling every day still.
Yeah. So let's fucking start. Julia, off you go.
March 2020, COVID came to Australia.
It did. That was fun.
That was a thing.
The China virus.
The bat virus, the whatever virus you want to call it. And guys, if you really like kind of sit back and think back to when COVID first came out, it was this whole panic that everyone went through.
Well, yeah, it was a pandemic. It was
Yeah, I
fucked.
know, but like everyone slowed down businesses closed up their doors. We had to start self-distancing, working from home became a
Lockdowns.
thing. Zoom came out of nowhere. None of this stuff.
Toilet paper went missing.
Oh, toilet paper, yeah.
That was a whole fucking thing. Motherfuckers.
So that was the whole thing that we all kind of needed to navigate through.
Yeah.
And a couple months later in June 2020, grants were released.
Yeah.
And that's the 20K and the 25K.
The state and federal grants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which basically turned this COVID plus boom hurricane that swept through Western Australia.
I still remember back in the office, I was with a big builder back then, and I think it was, it must have been March, and all of a sudden clients weren't allowed in the office, or we didn't know, are they allowed in the office, are they not allowed in the office, what are we going to do? And pretty much overnight we were doing pre-starts and selections by Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah,
and at that stage,
online.
no one knew Zoom, no one did Zoom.
Yep.
And I remember one of our senior admin girls sort of put this process together and we started doing it.
Yep.
Yep.
Because before then, it was just Skype.
No.
Like video.
For videos. But in
It was
terms of
just Skype.
pre-starts, you normally go into the builders, display home,
Yeah, but I'm
display room.
I'm saying
and shit.
Zoom came out of nowhere. Like that wasn't a thing that we needed.
Yeah.
It,
It's pretty handy. We
I mean,
use it
whoever
now.
created
Oh, we use it
Zoom-
all the time now.
Yeah, that's fucking,
Yeah.
that's great. Whoever did it, fucking kudos to you, mate. Fuck.
So we have delays and delays because of COVID, and then we have this influx of all these people wanting to buy a home and build a home. Like it's this never before seen situation where everyone can't work to the full capacity because of the pandemic. And at the same time, we have like 10 times the amount of work flooding towards us.
So I remember we actually got our hours cut and we were doing 60% of the hours and 60% of your wage. At the same time, we were, to start with, just slowly getting busier and busier. It was before the grants, but we were still busy.
Yes.
Because we were just, as an industry, we were just recovering. So I remember we actually had pretty steady numbers.
Yep.
And at the time, we said to the big corporation, like, guys, yes, we understand you're trying to save wages and trying to cut. We are actually busier than ever.
Yep.
And if you want jobs to go to site, we need more people and we need more time. Not cutting us.
Yeah.
At the time, they didn't. I think everyone was just panicked. They didn't know what was coming next. And I know other companies as well were making people redundant.
Yep.
Everyone really shit themselves.
Yeah.
Everyone shut themselves and no one knew what to do because it fucking just came out of nowhere. And then, we're in a pandemic now. Also, lockdowns, this, that, people losing jobs. It was fucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was absolute havoc. And even in the building industry, I remember March, we sold one of our biggest months ever recorded.
Yeah.
And, and that was because I was still back. That was before I moved. So I was still with that big corporation with you. And that's when I started seeing, people were getting the hours cut and all this shit. And we're just sitting there going,
What the fuck?
This is fucked.
Yeah.
And then it started turning into a shit show. And and then I remember having to sit down with you and just going, man, I'm fucking out.
Yep.
I can't do this. If this was happening with staff, what's going to happen with clients?
Mm-hmm.
And then anyways, I ventured and did my own thing. But in terms of the actual what happened, in June, there was lots of discussions, and I know, governments and builders were all fucking talking, and basically they turned around saying, look, we've had a ridiculous time for the last 3-4 years in the building industry. Everyone's screwing each other down to get the cheapest price. The houses were fucking stupidly cheap, and trades were fucking getting paid peanuts, and many were leaving the industry because you're just getting paid fuck all. Might as well go up north or doing other shit. So what ended up happening was they decided, fuck it, let's try and stimulate the economy and throw out some grants and try and lure some people in that are in a good position and get them going.
Yep.
And what they did, the first, which was the federal, the 25, because that's when I was in hospital for the appendix, so I was getting that fucking ripped out of me. And then that happened, phone went mental, and then on Saturday or Sunday, fucking Mark McGowan back then posts up on Facebook going, 20K state grant at the same time. And when that got released, fucking everyone just lost their minds going, holy shit, because that's 45 in grant. So as a first home buyer, a lot of people were seeing 69K, which was a combination of the first home owners grant, which was 10K, as well as the stamp duty exemption, which was about 14K worth. So a first home buyer was basically saving nearly 69,000 towards their first home, which was fucking ludicrous.
It's insane.
Ludicrous. So
Why wouldn't you?
yeah, why wouldn't you? And then everyone came out of the fucking woodworks.
Yeah.
And the way I like to try and explain to people how many people there were, it's like if you can imagine 3 years worth of people building homes and they all met into one place and lined up, that's the amount of people that there was.
Yep.
It was waves of people. And we're not talking like 1,000 or 2,000 people, thousands, if not tens of thousands of people actually started the building journey.
Inquiring left, right, and
It was
centre,
fucking mental.
booking
My
meetings.
phone fucking shut itself. That's WA. This happened across Australia, guys. This was in Adelaide, Queensland, Sydney, Victoria, Sydney, Melbourne and shit. All the big places. Everyone was doing it at the same time. So it was fucking mental.
And I think I said last time, it was overseas as well.
Yeah.
America, Europe, everyone was in the middle of it.
Yep.
Fuck me. So all of this was happening, and that's when the big demand began. Where do we go from here, Julia?
So from here, I put that into account. But because we're in the pandemic, the banks haven't hired any extra staff. If anything, they've reduced staff hours.
Yep.
So the banks are slowing down, but the influx of loan applications has skyrocketed.
Oh.
So they were taking anywhere between 3 weeks to 2 months to process loan applications.
Yep.
So your formal finance took 3 times as long.
Yep.
Your land availability
Holy shit.
Yep.
become null and void. Titled land was a thing of the
Disappeared.
past.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they, like the titled land was selling out like the toilet paper in the pandemic.
Yep.
It didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were lucky to get a roll of toilet paper. You were lucky to get a titled land.
Yeah.
And because land was such a hot commodity, the developers weren't developing land quickly enough because it wasn't in such a high need. Land was everywhere in
before
Western
that,
Australia.
Yeah. There was abundance
so
before
much.
that. It was no drama.
Take a pick, roll a dice, wherever
Yeah.
you want. Like
Yep.
throw a dart on a map. Where do you want to go?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, land is nowhere. So all the developers are scrambling to develop more land to try and sell more land.
Yep.
Obviously, it's selling a hotcakes now. So let's develop them. So they're under the pump. And because land is such a hot commodity, no one was doing holds. No one was doing extensions.
Yep.
No.
So there's pressure on the banks to process the loans quicker. And because the banks are taking such a long time, the chances of a client losing land was high. Because
Stupid.
And we also had there were a lot of government and just big commercial civil projects going on at the moment at that
Yes.
time as well,
Yes.
to kind of try and offset certain bits of the industry. So everyone was sort of on these jobs, not on the residential blocks. It was,
And that's the thing is, and the developers, just like how builders do, they're all fighting for the same trades to do the retaining, to do the fucking civil contracting, to do all that shit. There's only so much of that. And when that business came, it came like a fucking shit show. And we still had to deal with COVID, lockdowns. Then there was mandates for tradies on site and shit, which then had, people walking off site. So then that caused further delays. So with the land side, it was absolutely a fucking shit show because you've got the block and then the developers normally gave you 60 days in WA. This is for WA at least. They gave you 60 days to get your finance done. And what was also happening is the builders are getting fucked over because they've cut half of their fucking staff. Then they're trying to hire more people. They can't do it. Now they've had an influx and some builders were taking on literally like 500% more than what they were supposed to be. So if they were doing, for example, 400 homes a year, they were selling anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 homes estimated because of these grants, just taking on as much as they could.
There were a couple that just
went fucking
astronomical.
mental.
Yeah.
And some others still, again, they were just taking on so much. So then all of that same pressure to create the same contracts falls on the admin, which couldn't keep up, which then started causing further delays in creating your contracts, which normally would only take a couple of weeks. All of a sudden started getting pushed out to 2 months, 3 months. And that pressure is going back onto the client because the land can't be extended and clients were losing blocks
Yeah, no,
to
definitely.
someone else. It was just, it was fucked.
So I think we used to be about 4 to 6 weeks for contracts from when someone signed up to when they'd get their contracts, which is about what we do now, sort of 4 to 6 weeks. A lot of them, your drawings sometimes wouldn't start for 3, 4, 5 months.
Fucking wild.
The biggest thing in the end, I remember, especially in the admin stage, is because of the grants, I think you had to have signed contracts by the 31st of December.
31st of December.
So that was probably the first year that I ever recall that the industry didn't shut down. Like generally, builders, we shut down from the 20th to, I don't know, like the 6th or 7th of Jan. No one shut down that year because everyone was desperate to get out all of the contracts so that everyone could get their last minute grant. Because if you didn't sign up on that day, you've got nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of contract signing on
On
the
last
29th, 30th and 31st.
Because with a lot of these people, they just didn't have the extra people as well. So you're doing 3 or 4 times the work with the same size team. Just doesn't really work.
No.
There's a lot of overtime, a lot of weekends, a lot of all of that.
Yep. So the banks weren't slowing down. The land wasn't holding. The builders had administration teams were working overtime like there's no tomorrow, and it created this basically huge pressure cooker situation where everyone was overworked, like overtired, didn't have enough staff. We were trying to get staff from wherever we could, but we still had to keep COVID mandates of
Yep.
self-distancing and
How
can
many
you create
people-
contracts
yes.
from home? Is your computer
Yes.
able to create these demands? It just nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah.
But all that clients were seeing was your contracts are taking a long time. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
I'm so sorry. It's
And-
going to take another 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It
I'm
was
so sorry we've lost your land.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why though? And
Yep.
a lot of people weren't explained the
No.
situation. The whole situation wasn't taken into it like consideration.
Yep.
So I'm just reading my notes here. Because of all the shortages that happened in the administration stage,
Yeah.
basically everyone then signed their contracts and started progressing into the construction phase.
Mhm.
And
Slowly.
this is the shortages and the delays that we're still feeling now 3 years later.
Yep.
So first thing was you had to have slab down by, I think it was
It was the
March.
June.
Oh, yeah, it
No,
was.
June.
It was June.
It
I'm
changed like
it
6
changed.
times.
Well, this is
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Initially, because they started in June, they said that you had to have your slab down by, I think it was.
It
the end
wasn't
of
even slab. I
March.
think to start with, it was site earthworks.
Yeah.
Earthworks,
You
yeah.
literally just have to. I think we were taking a couple of builders were taking photos of water meters, and the fact that a bobcat had just been on the site. And I know some builders were literally just going, these 10 jobs in the street, just go and stick the bucket in and turn
Yeah.
the soil over. Don't worry about the rest of it. We'll come back for that. Just so
Wow.
it looks like you had technically started site works.
Wow.
Holy shit! Just to try and get that side done.
Because they
to
needed
give
a
it back.
photo of the site works to send
Correct.
to
It
whatever,
was
the revenue,
Oh,
Department of Revenue, or whatever it is.
Office State Revenue.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
OSR.
And then it got moved. I think it might have been, March
Yeah.
or June. Then it got moved to September,
Yeah.
then December.
Yes.
And then in the end, I think it was like 18 months they gave you.
They're still doing it.
Are they?
They're still doing it. They're
Yeah.
still pushing because of how fucked everything has been.
Yeah.
I saw that they had extended until sometime in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that? It's
Jesus.
like 4 years, bro, and you
Yeah.
still haven't gotten shit.
Yeah.
Wild.
That
to,
is
to be
crazy.
able to provide the evidence so that you can still be liable
Eligible.
For the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
eligible. That's it.
Yeah.
So holy shit.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, man. Like but that was the thing. I had pressures. I remember because I was with the other builders. I had pressures, and I was sitting down with clients going, "Look, the council has come back that because we had done big garages on the boundaries and stuff. Everyone just became an absolute shit show, and we were having to go to planning, and we're going, look, if you go to planning, we might not be able to guarantee that we can get the slab down in time for you to be able to get your grants if you're willing to." And it was I think it was one mainly that was being a shit show. I think it was the federal.
Okay.
They had to be within a certain time. The other one was a bit more lenient with
Yep.
the state, give or take, whichever. And as I said, if you want both grants, you needed to do this. So if we did it, you might have to risk it, and you might
Lose.
get it,
Yep.
and you might lose it, or we change it slightly, and then we know we can guarantee it through the builder that you will get them both. And we had to give those options to clients, and we had to let them sit and think of them. And some of them were like, "It's all G. I'm happy with that. Let's just get both grants because that's worth more than losing 2 square meters out of a garage
Yep.
or whatever we needed." You
Yep.
know what I mean? So that was fine. But then other people said it was fine, and then they were a bit upset about it after because they started seeing that, oh shit, you got pushed back
Yeah.
again. No one knew. The government just kept changing their fucking mind
I know.
halfway through. So they're going, do it by June. You're not getting shit. And then comes May, do it by September. And we're like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Do it by December.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it just kept going. I'm like, well, fuck, if we knew that from the beginning,
You wouldn't
we
have
would've
changed
been
it.
fine. No,
Yeah.
we would have been fine. And that probably would have put less pressure on everyone as
Yeah.
well to let them go through the process.
And we wouldn't be in this pressure cooker situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we, everyone tried to get earthworks happening, and then everyone needed concrete. Everyone needed a slab.
Holy
Yep.
shit.
To be honest, even aside from earthworks and slabs, even today we're still feeling it. There's no power on many, many sites. I've never bought so many generators in my life. We've got 6 or 7 generators.
Holy
Holy
shit.
moly.
We've got heaps of jobs that are even up until sort of roof chippy starting where there's no power.
Wow.
And other jobs where there's no water. And we've got developers providing water tanks.
Yes, yes.
Because they can't get
the guys out to do it all.
the Water Corp and Synergy out because they're just that busy. They've got so many developments going on that there's no services.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But
But then, concrete after that. Concrete went up pretty quickly straight away. There wasn't a massive increase in price,
Okay.
but the demand was huge.
Yeah.
It probably went up maybe 30%, 40%.
Yeah, okay.
I love that you're like, it's not that much. It's only 30 to 40%
I mean,
of what it
compared
used
to
to cost.
100 and something, yeah.
Compared to others.
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone listening's like, the fuck?
Yep. Yep.
And this is going to really play hand in hand as to why so many houses went up in price. So keep going.
Yeah. So then, really, the material went up, the concrete itself, plus the labour.
Yep.
That was the first thing. So I think at one stage some people were waiting months just to get a slab down from earthworks. And then because sometimes it took so long, you had to redo your earthworks to get your slab.
Yes.
And then really even after slab, the earthworkers themselves, when you do your slab cleans, they were all in high demand. Then really the main thing after that was, I guess, the bricklayers.
Bricks.
Yeah.
All of the materials in there went up as well. And so, again, if you go back to, let's just say 2018,
Yep.
if on the 1st of January we had a price list from a timber supplier,
Okay.
and we were paying, I don't know, let's just say you're paying $5,000 a job. If in September, even if they'd had a price rise in, say, July, generally they'd still honour your purchase order that you'd
Nice.
sent at the start of the year.
Okay.
And because it wouldn't have gone up a lot, it might have gone from 5 to 5.1 or 5.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
But they would honour that price. Because things were going up so fast, no one could honour it.
Yeah.
If if they did, they'd be throwing money away,
Yeah.
and they'd be going under because they'd be paying you almost to take some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So never before really have all of the suppliers just had to sort of rip up contracts, rip up agreements, and you pay the rate on the day of delivery. So on the 31st of July, it might cost you $5. On the 1st of
June.
1st of
August.
Yep. It's 5.5 or it's 6 or it's 7. And then every month, quite often, it was changing. So no matter what your purchase order said when you started the job, it was irrelevant. It was done. You pay for whatever the current rate is the day of delivery.
Yeah.
And it's never really been like that before. Like, in the
Wow.
past, sometimes even building a 2-story home, even if something would take 12 to 18 months, generally those rates would be locked in, and the suppliers would stick to it.
Yeah.
But in this time, no one could because of the increases were so huge from not just the material, but then the shipping and all of that as well. That I think it just took everyone by surprise, and that's when then all the increases started coming through from the builders to the clients.
Yeah.
It was just chaos from that end.
It was
There's
chaos.
chaos everywhere.
And
Yeah.
and it wasn't just like, for example, they were doing it monthly. Like sometimes they would be sending you guys emails. Like I remember when you were explaining, like, while we were doing like mid-build a couple years ago, and you were telling me like it was like weekly to fortnightly. You just get a new email going, "Hey, here's the new rates of what it is."
Yeah.
2 weeks later,
Yep.
"Hey, here's the new rates of what it is." And from a builder's point of view, from what I'm trying to say, like as a consultant, going, how the fuck are you able to provide a price for a home to be able to foresee where that may go? Because everyone's just trying to adapt as we go, and you just can't. Hey?
No, it was really, really hard because even for a good build, from the day you sign up to getting keys, the average is a good average would be or a really good time would be 12 months.
Yeah, okay.
So you got to try and guess the end, what's happening in 12 months
Up front.
up front. And I guess normally, previously years, you could because you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
You couldn't. No one could. And everyone was just trying to do whatever they could to stay ahead of the curve. Lifting base prices, the price of your house to try and foresee as best you could to try and survive.
How much would it cost,
Yeah, to
Yeah.
try and survive, because
There
there's
was
only so much margin. Because I think a lot of people have this mentality where they thought, since the grants have come out and the costs were going up and these price increases were coming in, that's just going straight to the builder.
Yeah.
And that was I've seen that comment so many times on socials and shit. And you know what? It might be with some other builders and some smaller ones that might have done a few dodges. It might have been something.
Yep.
But for the grand scheme of it, when you start listening to the whole process of like what Matt's explaining, this shit was happening non-stop, guys. And it's not just the bricklayer himself decided that he went from 90 cents to $3 overnight. It goes by a little bit, then it goes up again, and it goes up again. And if you don't pay these guys, they're not rocking up.
Yep.
Same as the materials. If you don't pay what they're requesting, it was almost like fucking like holding hostage on materials and shit, going, if you don't do this, you're just not going to get it.
Yep.
So then you have to try and cave. And the margins on most builders wouldn't be that high that you can just absorb the entire thing. And we've seen some builders that tried to, and then they ended up unfortunately collapsing.
Oh, I don't think we've ever seen as many builders go under as we have in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
It's been insane. Big old school builders and new builders as well. If you're not set up and you didn't go into it with your eyes open and sort of prepare, then most of them are done.
Yeah.
Everyone essentially in the industry was drowning. Everyone was underwater trying to breathe through a straw to just stay alive and make sure that they're not essentially giving these houses away for free.
100%.
Because that's what some builders ended up doing.
Yeah, no.
They end up paying these clients almost. Not that it felt like it because the clients were still paying.
Yep.
But it was essentially given away for free because of so many price hikes.
Yep.
You didn't earn money. How do you pay your staff? How do you pay your rent or your,
I could guarantee you that there would be many homes in the last couple of years where it has cost the builder more than they sold it for.
Yep.
That's fucking
It definitely
wild.
would have happened, and they would have lost money on the job.
Yep.
Wow.
And then if you take overheads into on exactly like you just said, all the rent and wages and everything like that, you'd be even more in the hole.
Yeah. And guys, don't forget, like these are homes. This isn't, a small purchase. When we're talking about losses, these are tens of thousands of dollars worth of loss, plus all the overheads that a business has.
Yep.
These
monthly,
companies
that comes out monthly.
were losing a lot of money, but no one was looking at it from that point of view. No one understood that, I guess.
And because you had a lot of different builders and some handled it really well, and then the industry also, we copped it because there were some builders that took the piss and just didn't handle things the way they weren't open, they weren't communicating.
Yeah.
So then it just looked like they were being even dodgier than they probably were.
Yeah.
Because they just weren't, they wouldn't respond to emails or texts or give valid answers or reasons for things. It kind of made us all look bad.
Yeah.
It's one of those hardest things I like to say is like you can't paint the picture with the same brush for all. Like you physically can't, because otherwise it's like you have one bad experience and everyone's fucked. And there is good out there. It's just you got to be able to look with your eyes open. And realize that not everyone is the same, and it comes into how companies have been able to hold themselves with what integrity and value that they've been able to from the moment the boom started all the way through to now. Like, where are they? How have they treated their clients? How have they been able to combat this shit? And we've done a little bit about La Vida in the last episode that we did together with you, Matt. So today, this is more about all the shit that is actually out there, so that people that are still building, that are dealing with the 3 years, I want to explain this to everyone. We are not trying to make an excuse for the builders that are taking 2 to 3 years at all. This is more for the information for you guys to be able to actually understand what the fuck happened, because you never got told this information. And fuck, I wish we were in the position that we could have done this episode literally mid-boom.
So I've had, I reckon, half a dozen phone calls at La Vida from clients building with other builders who basically asked us if we could take the build over halfway through. And I've had the last one, I was probably on the phone for half an hour with this client explaining, look, no, we can't. It doesn't work like that. And then explained where they were at with their build and what was going on. And they were just like, wow, we've never had this much information from anyone else. And helping people with other builders. So
it's really hard because we get messages like that on Instagram as well. Hey, like we signed up with this builder. Can you help us? Like we're at Brick Stage. I'm like, no,
not really.
I can't do anything.
Not really. Like,
I
mean, we could ask, but chances are it's a no.
It's a hard position. Anyways,
let's jump onto. So the next big delay would have been bricks. So everyone had the sub down, and now it's bricks. And there was a couple things with bricks. Bricks weren't being produced or made quickly enough. So there was a shortage of bricks, which is never happened before.
Well, not to this extent. There's been shortages before and reselections before, but I guess again because things were quiet, so bricks take a lot of energy to make. They're all done in kilns. They're fired. I don't even know how many we've got in WA. I don't know, 8 or 9 kilns maybe through different brick manufacturers. some of them that get turned off because the amount of gas or energy that they use, if they're not using them because we were as quiet as we were, they might go, okay, you know what, we're going to shut these few kilns down and we'll turn them back on later. But when you turn them back on, it doesn't just take a day to turn on.
No.
Like it's a process to restart these things, get them and restart the manufacturing. So, yeah, we had a lot of face brick shortages. And I guess that's where probably, again, we were pretty successful because when instead of us just going, oh, your brick's not in stock, it's going to take 3 months or 2 months to come back in, we would go to them, do you want this other option? This is an almost identical option. It's like for like. Do you want to swap? How do you want to do it? And sometimes they'd go, yep, we want to swap that. But if we swap that, we need to change our roof color. And it's just like, yep, that's fine. We can do that. Which then meant instead of maybe waiting 2 or 3 months, we'd wait a couple of weeks. We'd get the new selection. We send it back to the brick manufacturer and we get it delivered so we can keep going.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
What Matt's referencing here is brick colours because certain brick colours
Yep.
were a lot more popular than others.
Yeah.
So when everyone picks the exact same brick colour from the exact same manufacturer,
Yep.
they sell out very
100%.
quickly.
Yeah.
So the fix for it is to change the colour of your bricks,
Yep.
which will change the facade of the outside
Yep.
of your home. But would you rather change the colour or wait an extra 3 months?
And there were a couple that didn't want to change. And we were just like, look, that's fine. But the majority were just like, yeah, let's do it. Especially when between all the brick manufacturers, most of them have very similar colours. So you can generally move between a few with a very minimal sort of issues, I guess.
And what we did notice was a couple of builders, because there was such a big shortage, they ended up opting to not do brick homes and kind of get onto the rest of Australia's trend to do steel frame or timber frame homes instead of doing bricks.
Yep. So there were a lot of brick veneer and a few have stuck with it. The biggest thing at the start is because I guess when they changed, you can't just go, I'm changing from brick to timber or steel. You've got to change all your back-end engineering, your building permit.
Plans, everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to change all of that. And then because so many of them changed, all they did was move the problem from bricks to timber and steel, and then all of a sudden,
Timber and steel.
within a month, they were fucked. Yeah.
Which is exactly what I got written here. Which once you change, it's very hard to go back. And once you change, you've just moved it to another industry's problem, essentially.
Yeah. So a lot of the builders just reverted back and just stuck to double brick. There were a few that stayed, and I guess they either had good suppliers behind them or just managed to make it work for them. But yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and I guess the second hard part was there wasn't enough bricky teams.
Yep.
Fuck no.
Which last episode that we had you on, you mentioned how a lot of them kind of weren't getting paid enough. It was more beneficial for them to go FIFO.
Yep, definitely.
And not all of them immediately decided to come back into the bricklaying industry just because a boom happened. So we had a huge shortage of bricklayers.
Definitely, because I guess if you've set yourself up, you've been up north for a year or two, do you want to come back? No one knew how big the boom was going to last initially.
Yes.
Do you want to come back for a few months or 6 months or 12 months and then have to restart your career up north again if you want to go back up north? So it took a while to get a lot of that traction. And then a lot of the teams, like I guess previously, to be honest, especially where we were, there were a lot of bigger teams, maybe 4 or 5. A lot of people started going off on their own. So instead of it taking a week or maybe 2, some of these homes were taking 4 to 6 weeks because it was 1 or 2 guys doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone really changed the way that they were working, I guess. You couldn't get labourers. Like being a brickie is not an easy job. It's very labour intensive. And if you're not good at it, like it really shows. Like you can certainly drive down some streets and go,
what the fuck is that?
Exactly. There's some real dodgy shit out there.
Yeah, fuck, I know. I've fucking,
we've seen some of that.
We've seen some of it. There was some builders that we'd worked with, and there was some brickwork because they were just trying to get the boys out and get the work done. And sometimes the guys just weren't very attentive with the work they were doing. They were just slapping shit together. And we were doing our construction runs and we were picking up on shit. And I was looking and going, get fucked. My client's not fucking paying for this shit. And there was clients that were then going, kicking back and screaming because the supervisor was so slammed with all the jobs on site. And it became an absolute shit show. Like I started fucking going off, which I normally shouldn't. But then I was going off, clients going off, supervisors going off at this guy going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are that? What are that?
What are those? They weren't your sandals, I'll tell you that. So it got to a point where there was then a lot more rework. So the guys were having to fucking demolish it and fix it. It was just fucking, just fucked. And yeah, unfortunately, there's many houses that we've just, we just drove by on in all of the estates where we build. When some of the builders that have built some homes, I'm just sitting there going, fuck, I won't be happy with that.
That is shit, yeah. Some of the brick maintenance guys that are just going around are making a killing.
Yeah.
Because especially at that time, you couldn't get anyone to do anything. So for little patches or anything, they were earning a good bank.
Yeah, exactly.
And even once you got your bricks up,
Yep.
so your bricks have been delivered in the colour that you've selected or reselected.
Yep.
You have successfully got a brickie team to come out and they have built the walls for your home.
Mm-hmm.
The next shortage was timber.
Yep.
Timber or steel, depending which option
where you went. Yep.
you went, but both, huge delay.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't have a massive timber shortage at Vida ourselves. Like, we had a really good relationship with our supplier and we were calling it up really, really early.
Yeah.
Like 3 months early at one stage, I think it was. Whereas a lot of people just can't do that. Like, you've got to program really well and know what's happening to be able to do that. But yeah, then there certainly was. And the timber was one of those things that went up a lot at the same time.
Stupid.
So you couldn't get it and it cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
And then once you've got it, you still had the battle for chippies.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of the chippy teams kind of split, I think. A lot of guys wanted to go out on their own, thinking they can probably earn a little bit more or do it their own way. But yeah, it certainly didn't make it easy. So we've got quite a few really, really good teams that do the majority of our work. But yeah, no, it definitely was a struggle.
Yeah.
And there was also, let's just say, besides the timber that wasn't being created, but delivery of timber was absolutely fucked. There was the port fucking freezes,
Yep.
like the strikes. There was the train, was it the train
Train
lines?
derailments,
Yeah.
fires.
The fires.
The floods.
Bro, there was fucking everything. And then that kept pushing shit and kept pushing shit and kept pushing. And each time we kept getting pushed, price kept going up, kept going up. And there was and I think you were saying about this is that we don't actually create a lot, like all the timber that we need here in WA, with the mills. We get a lot of it from, with the wars right now with Russia and Ukraine and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know we even get timber from there. So then add that into it. And then if you're not paying enough, then it was being diverted to other countries internationally.
So I know
they were paying more.
Yeah, for a long time the timber rate, America was paying a lot more than we were.
Yeah.
So a lot of the imports were going over there.
Fucking Americans.
Yeah.
So what was happening was the timber was being cut up and created in another country.
Yep.
It was then starting to get shipped to Australia and half the time getting bought out by America. If the ship made it to Australia, not rediverted by another country, it would normally land on the East Coast.
A lot of the time,
And then it would have to normally be trained over to Western Australia. But then because of the floods and the fires, the train
And the
line
derailment.
essentially shut down for ages. So then they decided, fuck it, pack it up back into a ship and send it over to Fremantle via cargo ship. And all of our ports shut down time and time again. So we had these cargo ships sitting
full
right
of material,
there.
all sorts of and with
Right
all
there.
materials from timber, insulation, door handles,
Everything.
basin, everything.
Phenomenal.
And it's just unattainable. It's
Yeah.
like a kilometre offshore, but it just
Fuck
can't
it, I'm
port,
just
it
gonna
can't dock.
fucking swim there, man. I was gonna strap it to my back and I'm gonna fucking swim and just breaststroke my way back. With a couple.
Put a rope around your waist.
Some floaties on a container.
Done. We're on. And that's the thing. So at the same time, guys, keep adding more into this shit, into the shit show that we can keep adding in. There was still having lockdowns, so we couldn't actually do shit. And I think they did end up allowing after a while the trades to go on site as being.
I think.
But at first they didn't. It was only emergency first.
It's so long ago, to be honest. My memory's pretty foggy, but
This is 2 years ago now.
I think to start with, no one really knew what was going on either.
Yeah.
So,
Once we had the vaccinations created, everyone then had to have the vaccinations
Then
to
the
go back
mandates,
to work. The mandates.
that was fucking bullshit because
That's what really, just as everyone kind of got
shit.
into a groove,
Yep.
all of a sudden these vaccine mandates happened. And if someone was immune compromised or anti-vaxxed or for whatever reason. Like there was this whole debate whether you go AstraZeneca or Pfizer and which one should you go for depending on your age. Like there was this whole debate and everyone was too scared of taking AstraZeneca, but Pfizer was out and no one wanted to get there was so much going on and whoever wasn't vaccinated couldn't go on site and couldn't go to work.
Yeah.
So we had this like boom that's still continuing on, and then all of a sudden half the workers dropped off because they can't or
workers
didn't want to get vaccine.
Yeah.
And what we were seeing is workers were actually midway through it, brickies, fucking like chippies, everything, and then the government turns around and goes, "Here we go, fucking mandates. If you don't have them on site, you're getting fined and fucking kicked off site." And they were having inspectors going around fucking building sites, inspecting and finding people. So a lot of the times, the boys just turned around, the ones that knew they weren't fucking getting it done or whatever, or girls, fucking whatever. They just turned around and just went, fucking catch you later, man.
Yeah.
And they walked off. And that was, we saw that with some of our clients, like with some big garages, like full custom. So we needed someone that was a lot more expertise. And it was an old bloke. And he turned around and was like, fuck the backs, basically.
Yep.
But then our client ended up copying it because he couldn't go on site to do that job. Yep. And then multiple other brickies looked at it and said, that's way too complex of a job. So then they walked off site and then just causes continuous delay. And that, and it wasn't just like my client, 1 hour, whatever. It was happening across the board.
Yep.
Wild.
Yep. And not just from that, even just the second anyone got a sniffle, your whole team was gone.
Yeah.
So,
It was
wild.
Beyond shit show. But that was something to remind you guys, is that those mandates caused fucking like havoc on top of havoc on top of havoc again.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that the boys that if they were mid job, they just walked off.
Yep.
And no one wants to finish somebody else's job.
No.
Once you've started, you're going to really struggle to get anyone to finish it.
And that was happening. And then all of a sudden, you as a client, you finally found that, spare couple hours that you weren't locked into the house or anything, that you want to go out and have a gander at your home, and is just sitting there half completed, nothing's been done, and builders not fucking responding because they're slammed and they've probably got really shit communication. So then all of a sudden you're just sitting there and just stressing, and you're paying rent and you're paying this, and you're struggling with work because a lot of them drop the hours. Fuck.
Everything.
Yep.
Fuck.
And then once your timber or your steel is up, the next big delay is your roof.
Yep.
So your colorbund or your tiles.
Yep. So same thing with the bricks, really, with the selection, was certain colours that were just out of stock. Yeah. Surf Mist, Monument. And I think there's another one or two that were just the massive, either real light or real dark, that everyone loves, that they were the hardest to get in stock.
Wild.
And then on top of that, because there was another company, there's Colorbond, and then there was another supplier that was doing similar.
Yeah.
Well, they went into liquidation at the same time. So then everything went Colorbond. It had to be Colorbond because that was the only option, or roof tiles.
Yeah.
And so that was where, even before that, I guess, we decided at Levita we don't offer roof tiles.
Yep.
There's just so much more maintenance, more leaks, just issues in general. We only do Colorbond roofs.
I've done one house in 300 that we've built in 7 years as tiles. Everything else, like Colorbond.
These days it's
no fucking way. I'm not doing them.
It's a no-brainer.
90% of people probably would say that, but there's still a lot and certain I get ethnicities that do prefer tiled roof. That's what is back home.
Well, that's a them problem.
Well, and so we don't offer tiles. It's just too hard.
Yep.
It's the delays even now are massive. So we just don't do it.
We're still feeling that now. So all these jobs that signed up in 2020 and got slabs down in 2021.
Yep.
All of them. Well, not all of them, but the some of them, I'm trying to think of a way to put it. Certain jobs from certain builders are currently at that roof stage / lockup stage.
Yeah,
I was trying to word it in a diplomatic way.
Yeah. Well, I just see it on the socials and I feel so fucking sorry for him because they're sitting there and going, oh yeah, it's going to be another fucking 3 to 4 months for a tiler to come out to actually do it. So they've got it all and delivered. Or, and you can also pay the difference. So it's almost become like a DIY for building, for fuck's sake. So you
provide your own bricky, you provide your own chippy.
Literally. And it's so sad because the clients are now at a point where they're going, fuck this. I'm just going to fucking pay the difference if I have to take out a loan to just get this house built.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this house anymore.
But hold on, that's not their fucking responsibility.
No, it's not.
It's the builder's responsibility.
Yeah.
You have entered the fucking contract. You have paid your fucking money. You have busted your hole to get to that amount. So then for a builder to turn around and start doing that and going, oh yeah, if you want this, go get your own. Go outsource this. Go outsource that. Fuck you, man. Like, that's bullshit. And I feel so sorry for those guys.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. We're in 2023.
Yeah,
and it's still happening so much.
Yeah.
And like, if they're doing roof now, fuck, man, they're only halfway through the build.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm going, like trying to go with this. It's
My
now,
bad.
like at this stage now, roof and onwards is where like the majority of houses have kind of like shifted to.
Yeah.
So like it was, everyone was at slab, everyone was at bricks, everyone was at timber, and now everyone's shifting to this in between stage between getting their roof on
Yep.
and getting lock up.
Yep.
Yep.
And the couple of stages in between. If you guys listen to our construction phase episode, you guys will know where we're
at.
Yeah.
Where we're moving towards.
Where we're moving towards. So still like the COVID pandemic's more or less like died off now. That's kind of finished. There's no more mandates.
The borders have opened.
Everything's open.
Things are
Like
slowly-
everyone can travel. Like it's a lot easier, but we still have shortages and delays.
Yep.
And the top 4 that I have noticed on site from our construction runs.
And this is now in August 2023.
Now in 2023.
So we're dating it.
Because everyone needs it now because everyone's at the stage is windows, doors, cabinets, and garage doors.
Yep.
Those are the 4 that I've picked up at least.
I was like huge.
Yeah, definitely. With the windows, probably not so much the glass supply, but the labour, the glaziers to actually physically put the glass in your window frames on site and sliding doors. There's just, there's nowhere near enough glaziers.
Yeah.
Like we're struggling for glaziers.
So any good glaziers out there?
Do you want a job?
It's a bit late if this is a few months later. We'll be past that by then.
Take Bexes on that.
Doors, I haven't really noticed doors, to be honest. Fixing, I guess, some of the fixing carpenters a little bit.
Front doors, I've noticed. Sorry, I
Oh,
should.
really?
Yeah, front doors. I noticed that they're like all the internal doors get delivered,
Yeah.
but the front door's always like 3 weeks behind or 2 weeks behind.
Like, I think that's also just based on what feature doors some clients are doing
Maybe.
with glazing in it and shit like that.
Yeah,
if it's just a
potentially.
normal like,
Or maybe we
engraved
fucked up and
one.
forgot to order it.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It can't. That
Well,
can
no, like
happen.
honestly, that's what I've noticed on site. Like
Yep.
normally, all the windows are on, all the doors are installed. Like everything's ready to go except the front door.
Yeah,
like, I'm
okay.
like, you guys are almost at lockup. We're just waiting for that front door. And I feel like I've sent that email maybe like 6 or 7 times
Oh,
now.
okay. Yep.
Where I'm kind of sitting there going like, everything's in,
Yep.
but your front door.
Yep.
Fucking Julie's just fucking throwing Matt under the bus in mid-podcast here.
I'm not throwing them under the bus. I'm saying this is the delays I've
Yep.
noticed.
Yep.
And I don't think it's because you guys have.
I know we did forget one or two,
Oh, okay.
but there's
slap
also
a
there is a
board.
lot of theft. Still.
Okay.
Theft is a killer at the moment, and it has been this entire pandemic.
Yeah.
It's been ridiculous, and a mix from normal people, normal thieves who I guess want to do that, and also from the guy next door who's trying to finish his job and he's one lintel short on a
Yeah.
job or one door short, and
Wild.
that suits, so I'm going to borrow that.
I do have to mention, I'm not throwing Levita under the bus. And like, guys, you have to keep in mind, we do our construction run weekly, but we see this, like we do south 1, south 2, and then north. So we see the same house once every 3 weeks.
Yep.
So the front door could have been installed
The
the
next
day
day.
after we visited and then gotten stolen.
Yep.
So then by the time we came back 3 weeks later, like I'm still sitting there going, where the fuck's the front door?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing you guys under the bus in that sense. We are there
Jeez.
only once every 3 weeks.
Yep.
But that's what I have noticed on site.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, that's fair enough. I'll look. Yeah.
Like cabinets at the moment.
Cabinets, yep.
Yeah.
And I know I actually just got an email from the cabinet maker today.
Cool.
Our bathrooms all went in last week.
Yep.
Our kitchen's delayed by about another 2 weeks because
Fuck.
there's the colour. There's no board in stock.
Right.
The colour that we picked isn't in stock. It's been on back order. It was meant to be here 3 days ago, and then 2 days ago, then a day ago. Then they just got an email today saying, "Oh no, it's actually 2 weeks away."
Well, that was like ours. We got ours done. Our office. We got the kitchen redone, and the cabinet maker's like, "Yep, cool, no worries. I'm going to send it all through." It took like nearly fucking 2 months or something to get the fucking get
Yeah,
it all
okay.
in and
Yep.
and to be able to lock it all in. And we're just like, "Fuck me!"
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
can't you just fucking hook the fucker
Yeah.
up and just get
Our
it
cabinet
done?
maker's really good, and they're really organised.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
And
really.
and there's only so much you can stock in your own warehouse. Like certain suppliers have been stocking millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of stock. But on top of one, having the money to be able to do that, you need the storage space, which no one's really got.
Yep.
So like they gave us the option, do you want to change the colour? And I don't. My bathrooms are in, so I can start tiling.
Yep.
The kitchen, if it's in a week or two, so be it. But cabinets are definitely delayed quite a bit because at the moment, and that again is labour and material, because there is massive, massive pressure at the moment. I think we went to see our cabinet maker 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And they said, I think their orders or their call-ups have doubled within the last sort of 2 to 3 months. Just massively. So, yeah, they're absolutely getting slammed at the moment.
And on the note of cabinets and theft, we had a client, tell me you remember this, the client down south who had their kitchen installed, and then the following day the entire kitchen disappeared.
So we had, was that with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we had one that was even the splashback had been tiled. It was over Christmas. Wow. This was over Christmas. It got installed before Christmas. The tiler had finished. The splashback was done. Appliances were in. Over Christmas, they've broken a door and they stole everything. The entire kitchen, the tap, the sink, everything was gone.
Holy shit.
That was one of ours.
Yeah.
You don't remember who this is?
I don't think it was the entire thing. I know portions of it got stolen.
No, the entire kitchen just got disassembled.
Yeah, one of them got the whole thing, the top, everything, the entire thing disappeared overnight.
Well, that probably was our client. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much theft. Like, literally, I think, oh shit, I don't know if we should say, but I think we've got about 65, 70 in construction at the moment. I reckon 1 in 3 has had some sort of theft on site.
Oh, good,
From our clients.
I had a job.
1 in 3.
We had a job in Yanship.
It's pretty standard at the moment. It's very, very common.
I mean,
it's not from the builder's side or anything. There's, there was one. We just did a we did the handover about 2 weeks ago. I feel so sorry for this bloke because he's military, so he's not there all the time. So he did his PCI.
Yep.
And then he only had a couple touch ups, this and that. So you had the 10 working days, so 2 weeks. The following week, supervisor went out. They stole half his shit. They stole one fucking button on his oven. They stole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then they stole both the shower heads. They smashed the door in. They all this random shit, right?
What's the thing that you press down on your cooker?
I already said that. The knob.
Yeah, the knobs.
The knobs. 2 of them.
And as simple as they are, do you know how hard they are to replace?
Fucking hard. So do you want me?
Fuck?
Yeah. So that happened but this is what happened. That happened. They started replacing it.
Yep.
Following week, got broken into again.
Yep.
And then more shit got stolen. Yep. And we're just thinking, and the guy's like, hey, what's going on with my fucking PCI? Am I moving? He's like, bro, we've gone twice and shit's getting stolen. We're replacing him. We need to, and supervisor was like, we're finishing this on Thursday. Pick up the keys on Friday and move the fuck in.
Yeah.
He's like, take the time off if you need. And he's like, actually, that worked out perfect. So then they end up moving in.
Yep.
And since then, no problem.
So I had a Soakwell lid, big,
whole
heavy
concrete
concrete, so just the lid stolen on
fuck?
a job. And we know it's obviously someone in that street who was installing Soakwells because no one else is going to come and steal a lid.
Yeah.
I rang every builder, all the supervisors for the jobs next door, abusing every one of them, being like, mate, was this you? On our actual house, the one I'm building, I've got camera set up.
Oh.
Because we'd had the aircon got installed on a Thursday.
Yep.
The Friday night, all the motor and gear got stolen.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And so and the aircon guy came back the next day and he was just like, man, these people knew what they're doing. They didn't break anything. They specifically unscrewed what they needed. So then after that, we put a camera up. We have caught dozens and dozens of people. My wife has chased people out of the house. I've chased people out of the house.
Wow.
Kids, adults, people dumping rubbish. We had a guy last week, pulled up, started unloading sand off the back of his ute straight onto the block. So over the miles at work, so over the microphone, I was like, mate, we got your license plate number. So he starts shoveling the sand back onto his ute. And
my fucking God.
Even last night, my alarm went off at 1:45 last night and a car pulled up out the front.
Yeah.
Middle of the night. And so he's gotten out of his car, so I just turned the light on him on. And again, straight away, he's hopped back and he's driven off.
Wow.
The amount of people that are trying to steal shit.
It's
ridiculous.
Crazy.
And that's the thing. It's like, look, theft has always happened in the building industry.
Yeah.
It's
why
not
we
something
have
It's a part of life.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere.
Exactly. It happens everywhere. And it does happen sometimes on site. And, a big thing for clients, if they're not aware, it is covered by the building insurance. Like the
Well, I
clients.
guess it's the builders. To be honest, a lot of our
It's the
stuff we don't
builders.
claim under
Yeah.
insurance
No,
because it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
it's
but-
either under the premium, but it's the builder's issue. It's not your
yeah,
issue.
Yeah, it's the builder's issue. Like there are those. It's a matter of how the builder wants to deal with it. But you're not going to have to pay for shit going,
Yeah.
missing or anything like that. So don't ever fucking think that you need to. It's more just the fact of it's just an absolute inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like why the fuck would you do this? Like I just want to fucking move into my home, man.
100%.
And unfortunately, and like you said, with how much people are struggling at the moment with doors and certain materials, I can 100% say how certain, people would go out and steal
Yeah.
shit to be able to speed up their own
Yep.
or someone else's that they
Yeah.
know of to be able to help accommodate. And it can happen.
Yep.
Fucking how often do fucking water meters get stolen? What the
Oh,
fuck
water
do you get
meters.
out of
I
this?
know.
It's fucking stupid.
And again, like for us, we know if your door gets stolen,
Yeah.
generally the next day we'll get it replaced.
Yeah.
We'll get it delivered within a couple of days. For some builders who are still really struggling and got dozens, hundreds of supervisors, your one item might take 4 to 6 weeks to replace.
Yeah.
So because they just don't have the time.
They don't
So
have the time to try and organise.
you lose. You don't just lose a couple of days. You will lose months.
Yep.
Yep. Sweet.
And the last thing I had was the garage doors, which
Oh,
Yep.
that just seems
Yeah.
to be been a fucking.
That has been for a
consistent-
long time now. We just cannot produce enough garage doors in WA.
yeah.
Especially with me fucking asking for like 3 to 4
Stupid
per-
sized garage doors.
super size big and
Yeah.
and just add a couple more roller doors,
Yeah.
like manual roller doors and side
Yeah.
ones for our
Well, I'm
3 and
building
6.
one house, but can I have 3 roller doors?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
so the
like-
whole garage door issue is your fault.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what? I'll fucking take it. I'll take it. Fuck yous, because I prefer my clients to have big
Come
garages.
fight me.
Yeah.
Come at me,
Yeah.
bro. You
No,
know,
it-
236 Junior Drive, bro.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
No, it's been an issue for probably 12 to 18 months now. At one stage, a lot of builders were handing over homes without a garage door.
Yep.
I think it's gotten better. We moved suppliers about probably 12 months ago now, maybe longer. And the new supplier is still delayed, but their communication is really, really good.
That's
and they're
good.
really open on us and say, look, yep, it's going to be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is. Before, it was 8 weeks plus however long after that with no phone call, no email, no nothing.
So you just
It
fucking
went on
sitting
when
and
it went
waiting.
on.
Yep.
And that was all you could do. There was, they wouldn't return your phone call.
And if you as a builder can't get the information, then the
Yeah.
client's
Good
got
luck.
no fucking
Yeah, but it
chance
looks really
either.
bad on us.
Yeah.
So, and before that, they were really good. They'd been really reputable. A lot of businesses just couldn't deal with the
handle
demand, and then you lose. A lot of the time, it snowballs. Things get busy and get tough, and you might lose one person. That workload then goes to the few others.
Yep.
They get overworked.
Yep.
If you don't deal with it, the next person leaves, and then the next person leaves, and all of a sudden, you're trying to replace 5, 6, 7 people in or more, and those businesses just crumbled.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so to bit of a recap, I think, in terms of with everything that has been happening, like we have done the initial, what's happening about the grants and, and the booms and shit. And this one's more about episode 2 with Matt basically going a lot more in detail about the different stages that we've had delays and continuing experience in delays after
And
3
why.
years and why. But you got, in terms of for everyone, just to have a bit of an idea and like some of the quick snaps to really think about, too many fucking people came all at once because so much money incentive was produced for a very short period of time. Number 2, the businesses, all the builders, and I'm going to say this on behalf of the builders, they were struggling a lot with sales for the last 3-4 years. So when an influx of business came, it would be a no-brainer to take on more work to try and compensate for how much you've had to really reduce on cost beforehand. I would be comfortable to say that because everyone would have seen it going, cool, there's more business. All right, we can take on a bit more. We can handle it. Unfortunately, some people took on too much and got too greedy and thought they could handle it. But then all of a sudden, a lot of people were so in a racehorse type of fucking look going, this is what we can do. But they're not realizing that everyone else is doing the same shit. So all of a sudden, it's all going to come from somewhere and then turn into a shit show.
Yep.
We had lockdowns and we've had the mandates, which I think was probably a very big part into what caused a lot of problems, where the tradies were not allowed on site and were getting fined if they were fucking caught because they didn't have the jab, which then caused causing a lot more of the delays with certain people with their builds.
Yep.
And then it just turned into an absolute shit show. The price increases, guys, it began as soon as obviously grants began, and it just continued to snowball for so long. Now that we're in 2023, don't think that it's not happening. It's just not going at the caliber of how quickly and how substantial the increases are. They are happening, but what I can say from the information I've been provided is based, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on this part, is definitely simmered down. And even though some of them are still going up, some of the rates for certain trades and materials have slowly started to dwindle a little bit in the costs.
Yep.
So it's almost like compensating itself to a degree. It's still going up.
We're trying to figure it. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Definitely some rates have come down.
Yeah.
Other things are certainly going up.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's still going up more than it's coming down.
Right. Okay.
But there's definitely a big offset.
Yeah.
But the biggest, not worry, but I guess is again still trying to foresee 12, 18 months, 2 years down the track, what will happen next.
Yeah.
As some of this comes off, will there be another spike? Do we have to look into it again? Will everything? I think we know it's not going to shit the bed overnight anyway. There is so much demand out there.
Yes.
But it could still drag this on for another couple of years, few years.
That's pretty wild to say.
Yeah.
So this will come into the $1 million question that everyone asks us, and so many have their own fucking assumptions on it, is for the next, let's say 12 months, 18 months, right? Can you see the house prices going down?
I can't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I think they'll go up.
Yep.
Not massively.
Stupid. Not as much as it has already.
No. But I think things will still. I think if you look 12 months ahead,
Yep.
I think the prices will go up.
Cool.
That's my gut feel.
Yep. I think that's the most common question we get, which is
100%.
the most common comment.
Yep.
It's,
I'll just wait for it to go down.
I'm not going to build now. I'll wait 12 months and wait for it to go down. And we kind of sit there and we're like, I don't think it will.
Yeah,
Not with-
I may be completely wrong. We may all be completely wrong.
maybe.
I'll be
but
happy
I
to eat
don't-
my words.
Oh
if
God,
it
so
goes
would
down.
I.
No,
100%.
I'd be happy. I mean, fuck, it'd be easier for us.
Yep.
Yep. But I don't think it will.
No.
I think it will at some point.
But it
But
won't
I
go
think-
to
I
how
think
it
it-
was.
Oh no, definitely not. But I think
I think
couple
that's
of
what
years.
people. Yeah, I think this is the part that so many people don't realize is. I just look at it from a simple business point of view as well. You look at, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, the average median house price in Perth was about low to mid 400K. Right now, it's about low to mid 600K. Right, it has had a substantial cost of nearly 150, 200K cost of homes. At the same time, building a normal 4x2 home used to be around 180 to 200K.
Yep.
Now you're looking at 280 to 300 into the low to mid 300s. It has gone up quite a substantial amount with all the materials and the trades that have gone up. At the same time, the builders have been able to actually, sell this entire time. People have been able to afford to pay for it. Is it a lot more? Yes, but we are still
valuing with the banks.
Yep, it's still valuing
and
the banks.
that was a massive concern at one stage.
Yes.
But I think the banks sort of realised, and because the normal real estate market went up so much as well, that it definitely helped.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, at the end of the day, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to wait another 6 to 12 months and it's going to drop by 50K, 80K, 100K, you're kidding yourself.
Yep.
Sorry. I had the same thing when it was in the real down low market before the fucking grants and all this shit. I used to work back in display homes, and people were walking going, nah, man, this was similar to like my indulgence concept plan, big house. And it was 200K back then. He's like, no, man, I'll wait for it to go down. It's only going to get cheaper. You're too expensive. Or you're fucking in your words now, man. I can tell you that to whoever that bloke was. And that's the thing is, things aren't going to sit down and wait for you. When's the perfect time to build or to time it? There is no perfect time.
Yep.
Time in the market is what you're looking at rather than timing the market. So for people out there that are thinking, you got to look at the situation from the interest rates, the cost of the builds, and the cost of the land. Land is going to continue going up over time. The builds are going to potentially continue going up, And the rates may go up a little bit more, they may drop a little bit. But at the same time, even if the rates drop and your borrowing increases, the cost of the homes and the land is going to increase. So it's going to nullify what you think you can actually afford as well. That's something to think about as a little bit out there. We're going to have to fucking wrap this up. Fuck, I didn't even realize the time.
Matt, do you have
But,
anything else
yeah.
that you want to add to this topic or episode?
Oh, I don't think so.
Any last words of wisdom?
I think people are just got to do what's right for them.
Yeah.
Really. Don't worry about
Hang
what
in-
everyone else
Hang
says.
in
what-
there.
Matt's words of wisdom.
Oh, fuck.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Don't worry what your mate says, what granddad says, what everyone says. Like, yes, talk to everyone, get some advice, but no one knows where things are going to go or how tough or easy things will get. If you can do it and you want to do it, do it.
Yep.
If you don't.
Yep. You're at the end of the day, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Not us, not the builder.
Yep.
You're paying for it. So if it's something that you want to do, cool. Don't let them sway your decision completely.
Yep.
Take it on board, but make your own decisions. This is for your future and for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You
That's
know?
it.
So
Well,
let's quickly fucking just.
yeah,
finish it
I hope this was...
Sorry, Matt. We're going to have to fuck you off right
No,
now.
that's all right.
I hope this was a little bit of an insight to everyone who kind of wanted to know what was really happening in the back end of the boom. I think a lot of this information was already out there, or maybe might be like my biased view because I was in the building industry. But I hope they gave everyone a little bit of an insight of what COVID and the 2020 boom kind of looked like and why we're still feeling the effects of it now.
Yep.
And
I will say, so
continue
I
will.
think it will probably be another 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Possibly by the end of 12 months, hopefully that last bit will have come out.
Yeah.
Fingers
and then we
crossed.
start going back into some sort of normality.
Hopefully.
We'll see you at the end of 2024
Yeah.
and see where we're at then.
August 2024, eh? Let's plug. So,
Plug. Where can we?
find La Vida.
Yes.
I'll remember this better from last time.
Okay.
Yes.
Instagram,
Yep.
Facebook, TikTok,
Website.
website,
Google.
YouTube, possibly, maybe not. Google,
Yeah.
product review.
Yep.
Oh yes, product review.
Yep.
Killer.
Facebook, Insta, TikTok, Google,
Website.
website, which is www.lavidahomes.com.au.
That's it.
Yep. And you can find, I think that's everywhere that you are.
Yeah.
I think
or
so.
you can just find La Vida through us.
Just Google them.
Or you can
Um,
find it through us.
Yep.
If you're
Yep.
looking to build in the States and you know you'll be working
100%.
with us
Yep.
and
Talk to Nick.
And you can find Mr. Enthusiast on.
Insta, Facebook, TikTok, website, Google, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So
Lovely.
you will find us everywhere.
Everywhere.
Just basically look up Mr. Enthusiast and you'll find us.
Yep.
If you guys could leave a rating or a review, that would be fantastic.
Yep. Send
Hit
us
that-
a message.
You always interrupt me. God damn. Hit that follow or subscribe button. And just remember, guys,
We're not here.
To fuck spiders.
Fuck oath.
bye.
See yous.